year end, and you know, some of these factors, they're taking it in. And marketers, think of yourself as a rational individual. Any marketer that wants to make profits out of this business would obviously take into account, you know, what their costs are, how much they expect to make in the new year, and all that. So December, where they know, like I said, it will bite the hardest, it's the only time I feel they think, you know, most government officials would actually listen to their cry for help.
I get it. That's what you call a trade secret.
Exactly.
A trade. You've got the leverage.
Yes.
You leverage that. The weather is more hot. I sweated more at night.
Yes, definitely. So you need
the weather.
Yes.
You need a generator.
You need a generator. And diesel price. Diesel is still fine for now because prices are very high. They're as high as 200.
I saw that on your good news and bad news.
Yes, diesel price has remained that high. And, you know, people are still buying at that price because at this point where the heat is unbearable, they have to, you know, fill their generators. They even have to, and you know, most of these diesel trucks are the ones that, you know, travel long distances and all that.
And then petrol or diesel themselves? Diesel
actually. So that's what they use to, you know, transport some of these trailers down the road. And, you know, the demand is there, the supply is there, prices are high, everyone is happy. The same thing is what I think, or I believe, that they're actually demanding for petrol.
This is a very uncomfortable time for everyone. Unfortunately, we hear that the Minister of Petroleum Resources and the Group Managing Director of the NNPC are not even in the country as we speak. That's newspaper reports. I'm not sure where they are. I haven't put a call to either of them to find out where they are. But this story seems to be spreading. And when Lagos gets bitten by these recurring petrol scarcity problems, everyone around the country begins to panic, and folks begin to say, hey, did you hear the story about Lagos? Then they just jack up retail prices. They do.
What we're expecting is that, you know, we shouldn't really see any changes in prices, at least in the short term.
Now we're getting to the meat of the story.
Exactly.
Because when this began to happen, transportation, as you folks put it there, which is a natural consequence, then consumer goods, if you pay more or you're spending more time in Lagos, for example, abundantly, and you're buying products, consumer products, alcohol, non-alcoholic, whatever, and you put them in the vehicle to transport them to the next 200, 300, 400 kilometers away from Lagos, you're going to definitely increase prices one way or the other for your sweat.
You will, but it just depends on how long this false scarcity, you know, goes on for. As far as we understand, it started...
For Nigeria, 1 day is all you need. And you can, you're sure that folks are going to extend the price increase for a week or more. Just
well, you know, at this point, you know, many manufacturers would only, you know, wait and see what happens in the economy.
You don't worry about the manufacturers. I worry less about them. It's the woman at the roadside I worry about.
Of course, the woman at the roadside would, you know, a lot of them usually take advantage. There's false scarcity, we need to start increasing prices and all that. But at the same time, the price increase shouldn't be as much because if you think about it, demand hasn't actually picked up the way we want.
The price doesn't even have to go up. The fact that she or he, who is a merchant, spends more time or hours with the 2 jerrycans or 1 in a petrol station, sweating it out. As soon as she gets back to the shop, the price of that frozen fish goes up by about 50 or 100 naira or more.
It's saddening, and it also brings us to the point of the, you know, the GDP that we expect, the Q4 GDP. It's like when this is happening during this period, what do we expect Q4 GDP numbers to be, you know? And what we've seen is that obviously I don't know if you saw the story about the PMI as well.
Oh yeah, the PMI. Yes, the PMI.
Which is a signal of, you know, how we expect how manufacturers expect the manufacturing sector to play out. You know, the inventory levels. If the inventory levels are decreasing, then we understand that they're not so optimistic about the market. So false scarcity only even adds more pressure into this, and it just tells us that obviously we expect Q4 GDP numbers to remain stable.
We were having a very nice conversation around this time last year. I just don't know why this unhappiness gets in now when some states decide to put a happiness commissioner in office. Maybe that should have been at a national level to make sure we all have happiness all around. But this is very unhappy at time for Nigerians to have this come into place. School students are going to be finishing up with their examinations. They need to go back home and all of that. And parents now will be scratching their head. What will be the cost of transportation, or at least putting petrol or diesel in the vehicle and get the driver on the road or drive themselves to go bring them back home. This is a very unpleasant time. But let's have some plantain, shall we? Do you like deep fried or boiled?
Fried.
Fried. Okay, that's surprising because I can guess what your plantain goes with. But with my age, I think I'm doing more of boiled these days than fried plantain. And why is this very important commodity when you look at it in Nigeria? That's it over there for you folks on the screen. You can take your pick how you want it. Talk to us. I understand Cameroon is a major player when it comes to they have a very large plantation around the hills and mountains in Cameroon, and we're just playing maybe second fiddle.
Plantain it's a significant, commodity that we should actually look into in these times because, now in Nigeria, all we think about now is what else can we actually produce to have a comparative advantage in agriculture, and plantain is one of them. You see plantain everywhere. Everyone is hawking plantain. It's something that calls question. But why don't we get to a point where we're actually exporting plantain? Do
we have enough to eat and the prices go down?
We don't.
The prices are high in Lagos.
Yes, they are. They are high in Lagos, but the average price ranges between 500 naira to 1,000 naira per bunch. And I think this phenomenon actually happened this year because prior to this, plantain started from about 200, 300, then 500 was the stable price, and then now at some points this year we got it at about 1,000 naira per bunch. But we're number 5 in the world. We're actually way below Uganda. Uganda is not, at this point, Nigeria is the top country in Africa. So why is Uganda producing more than us? So it's an avenue where we can actually invest more in, produce more. Currently we produce about 3 million tons. And our potential, if we actually put more money into it, is about 7 to 8 million tons. So if this is an avenue where we can have a comparative advantage in, we produce more and export more. And to think about it, diaspora demand has actually increased.
Really?
Yeah, exactly.
I got our brothers and sisters eating plantain overseas.
Yes, definitely.
I need to make a visit over there.
You travel abroad, especially the UK, you're seeing plantain everywhere. You move, yes.
But I'm not too sure if they are Nigerian plantain or from Cameroon.
No, of course they're not Nigerian plantain.
So I need to find out.
So
let's leave that for another day, shall we? The gentleman coming in, I'm going to sit down after you. He's going to discuss more about agriculture and agribusiness and why is it that stockbrokers are interested in this business. That's Bolanle Olutose, who is one of the economists and research analysts at Financial Derivatives Company. Let's extend the conversation around corporate farming and agribusiness when we come back.